All right, so those are your headlines recapped. We are going to delve into our first art chat of the morning. So the multidisciplinary exhibition, Thresholds of Knowledge, it opens a window into the cutting-edge artistic research undertaken by masters and doctoral candidates from the Department of Art and Music. The exhibition invites visitors to explore an expansive landscape of ideas that challenge conventional boundaries. This synthesis is exemplified through the works of distinguished artists and researchers, including Sango Filita, Wadzanai Tirimboyi, as well as Bongani Ntombela, Karabo Aphane, and Reinhard Sonntag. So the diverse practices encompasses fine art, film, installation, sculpture, performance, creates a multifaceted dialogue. But perhaps to tell us a little bit more, we are going to be joined by curator Prof. Nombeko Mpago, as well as one of the contributing artists, Sango Filita. So on that note, good morning to the both of you, and thank you for joining us.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Prof, let me start with you. Perhaps the vision behind all of this, even merging artistic endeavors or practices with research. Tell us a little bit more about what was emerging for this edition.
Well, this edition is mostly looking at how, as human beings, we should look at things and try to understand things differently and have a different look of our existence. So all the artists that we're exhibiting there, most of the art is conceptual art, and it's also presented from lived experiences. All the artists that we're presenting works there, they are talking from their own experiences. And this is why most of the topics and most of the titles of the artworks themselves are titled in vernacular language. And also the idea of when you are talking to the audience, you must make sure that you are understanding the viewers that you are talking with, so that they can understand what you are communicating. For example, I normally say to the students that your grandmother in the rural area who have not learned art at university or art at school must understand what you are saying, because when you are communicating through art, we want to reach everybody, because art is a way of expression and it's a way of telling our own stories from our own voices.
Yeah.
So basically, all the artists that we're presenting there, they were talking from their own experiences and trying to reach all different corners of our existence, so that we can also engage with art in a different way than looking at art as something that has to be learned and it must be presented in a different Western way.
Yes.
We must be able to communicate to our own people, to our own culture, and from our own point of views.
Sure, Prof, you said a lot there. I need to pick up because, I mean, you're speaking about decoloniality, you're speaking about representation and agency as well. But even just to your point about the use and celebration of indigenous knowledge systems and the use of language. So, Sango, this was part of all the work you had to encompass, and I mean, you had to interpret that. So tell us about your work then, how you came to, explore some of the complex themes around migration, around resistance at large. Tell us about your work.
So, from my work, it was more inspired by commemoration in public art. Also the influences from the Rhodes Must Fall movement that happened in 2016. So I started questioning also what was happening around having public statues in public spaces, which of some of them, they make us feel uncomfortable. And it's one of the things that motivated the students to do that protest. So in my work, I had to find a meta and change it into a metaphor. Then I went for stems. And stems, they happen to be something that once had value. They were most valued. They were used for sending and receiving stuff. Like now we have courier companies.
Yeah,
post office is not that much effective now. There's too much competition. So also checking from the heroes that were mentioned to us, that like people who fought for our freedom, and most of them were not commemorated. So now you use that idea of STEM that once had a value, now they don't have value. Same as most of our heroes, they now don't have a value and they are not commemorated. Hence the question now, what to commemorate, who to commemorate, and how to commemorate them. And how do we take commemoration forward? Because having statues outside building doesn't do any effect. So now producing artworks that are going to give dialogue to people who come to the space, I think it's more effective. And lucky enough for this month, it's still Heritage Month, which made it more effective.
And I mean, for us, every day is a day to celebrate who we are, right? Because to know where we going as a nation, we have to know where we come from. I want to just pick up on that, Prof, before I bring you back in the conversation. You spoke about celebrating and commemorating heroes, and so it's this great remembering, right? But it's also what we choose to forget and why, and how it gets lost in translation over the years as time also passes by. What would have been the most challenging part about the work that you would have had to employ to produce this?
So as doing a field work research, it wants you to go to the field where you get to visit some of these spaces that we are talking about. And some of the challenges is access. It's sometimes difficult to get access and see these spaces. You can't take images, and most of the time we use images to produce artworks. So some of the pieces you have to imagine, we have to go to Google to balance the theme that we are working on, which makes it difficult because you have to bring life as well. If you can check from my work, most of those images, they had black and white background, but now you must give them life, which is, it must be something that is like the skin.
No, absolutely. And I mean, that's a conversation started in itself. Thank you for sharing that as well. Prof. Bako, I just want to go back to the use of art for political and social commentary, its relevance this time around, the ever-evolving landscape, you know, how you will also forever change through your students' interpretation as you created all of this as well. Also the fact that you're instilling hope, right? Because we're trying to navigate where we're going. It's important to know where we come from and bringing the youth along.
Yeah, for example, one of the students who the corner was very popular is Bongani Ntombela. Bongani Ntombela was, the title of his exhibition was The Dose of Balls.
Okay.
He actually used the testicular balls as a metaphor for audacity, for authority, for speaking out, for having control, and is calling for the viewers and the audience not to be complicit. And he was actually critiquing the topical issues of the corruptions within our society, and he was actually delving into the topical issues of Babita Deokaran, who was killed because of being a whistleblower, and Mkwanazi's issue, and all the topical issues. So he was actually in his installation, which was interactive, where people, the viewers, had to first take a dose of something as a metaphor that some of the wrongdoings that are being done by sometimes politicians or businessmen or whoever else, they are so unbelievable that you wonder what has the person drunk or what has the person smoked. So he was using that metaphor. So you'd have to first go and take the dose, and the dose was taken through the syringe, the surgical syringe. So you have to actually suck this thing from the testicular and then drink it, and then inside the cubicle where there was a different installations, ephemeral installations, and people had to actually interact, because it was actually provoking the audience not to be complicit,
and
the audience not to keep quiet.
Yeah.
And as a result, this was a memorial event of the exhibition.
So this is obviously, Prof, more questions and answers at this point that will keep the conversation going. Thank you, Sango. Thank you, Prof Mpako, for joining us. Prof Nombeko Mpako and Sango Filita, they were talking to us about the Thresholds of Knowledge. It's the exhibition that opened last week, Saturday. And of course, it just runs until the 17th of October, 2025. Pertinent conversations that are needed both socio-politically as well. Thank you to the both of them for joining us.